This is the blind test of Samsung S21 Fan Edition versus Samsung S22. Hi everyone, this is JD, your gadget review friend. Welcome, and welcome back to Gadget Rev Now. 5 months ago, we did a full camera comparison video of Samsung S21 Fan Edition versus Samsung Galaxy S22. If you watched that video, you probably know the difference between the two, but on a blind test, our question today is, without knowing the model, which do you prefer? Let the blind test begin. So, continuing with our series, Phone 1 is first and will be on the left, and Phone 2 will be second and will be on the right. Phone 1 is a little blurry, maybe because of the low light condition. It made the shutter open longer. Compared to the sharper image of phone number 2, definitely the bigger sensor played in. Phone 1 is S21 FE and Phone 2 is S22. Let's go outdoors and test the audio or the microphone of these two phones. We are starting this blind test with the audio comparison. This is phone number 1 and this is phone number 2, which you think is Samsung S21 Fan Edition or the Samsung Galaxy S22. Surprisingly, on the audio test, S21 FE is louder and clearer than S22, although the more expensive S22 blocks the background noise better. On our next test is a bit of low light without using the night shot, and the main sensor of phone 2 is a bit washed out because of the strong light that's coming in from the window. Checking the ultra-wide lens, there's more contrast on phone number 1, and looking at the 3x optical zoom, phone number 2 managed the noise better. For this 3 image, Samsung Galaxy S22 is on the left and S21 FE is on the right. Both of these phones are upgraded to Android 13. The Samsung Galaxy S22 is running on Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, while S21 Fan Edition has Snapdragon 888. Going for a 4K 30 FPS recording and stabilization test, this is phone number 1. And this is phone number 2. I think the colors and contrast is better here, but with the same stabilization. Looking at this video side by side, the first video is S21 FE and the second is S22. This is the portrait mode test for both phones, and we're starting with a selfie, and this is phone number 2. And this is the portrait mode of the rear camera. This is phone number 2. This is a close one. Going for a side-by-side comparison, just a difference in white balance. S21 FE is the first photo and S22 is the second. While still in a discussion of portrait, let's also test the cinematic mode. And this is phone number 2. A little shaky, eh? And washed out. Looking side by side, it's evident that S22 is on the left, while S21 FE is on the right. Also, the hardware is different. The Samsung Galaxy S22 is sporting the newer sensors, while Samsung S21 Fan Edition is sporting the older sensors from the S21 family. We're also checking the portrait mode without human subject, and this is not the strongest suit of phone number 2. The phone is having troubles cutting the subject and blurring the background. S21 FE is a bit struggling on this test. This is a burst of image and we're checking the colors. Who do you think has the better color science? I will definitely say phone number 1 is saturated and sometimes phone number 2 is inconsistent depending on the light source. But in most situations, probably like 80% of the time, in a perfect world scenario, both phones will output the same images. S22 are all on the left and S21 FE are all on the right. I will show you a couple of videos. First is the ultra-wide 4K 30 FPS, and I think the stabilization is a giveaway for this blind test. And this is phone number 2. Very smooth and I love the colors. The video is just a bit punched in though. Going for a quick side-by-side test, phone 1 is S21 FE and phone 2 is S22. Now we're switching to the selfie camera, UHD 30 FPS, and for phone 1, it's just too shaky and yellowish. And this is phone number 2. The great thing about phone number 2 is the colors and overall look is the same as the rear camera. Going side by side on UHD, the video stabilization is off on Samsung Galaxy S21 FE, that's why it is shaky. Next blind test is flaring, and for ultra-wide lens and 3x optical zoom, both phones manage it really well. Going for the main sensor, a bit stronger on phone number 1, and that is Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. Next, we're checking the sharpness of all 3 lenses, and this is phone number 1. And this is phone number 2 using the main, ultra-wide, and a 3x optical zoom. If you punch in on all 3 images, the sharpness is the same and just a difference in colors, contrast, and white balance. Samsung S22 is phone number 1 and S21 FE is phone number 2. Last daylight test, the details, and you probably won't notice this on a smaller screen, but if you blow this up on a bigger monitor, phone 1 is more detailed because it is the 50 megapixel sensor of S22. We are done with the daylight shots. Did you get everything right? Now we're waiting for the sun to go down, and we will check the night shot and low light capabilities of these 2 phones. So after 7 hours of waiting, this is our night shots, starting with phone number 1. And this is phone number 2. Do you see any marginal difference? I think if we look side by side, the only standout difference is the white balance and colors, warmer on Samsung Galaxy S22, but looking at this 3, it's green, so S21 FE actually nailed the color perfectly here. Now this is phone number 1 on rear camera low light test. We're shooting 4K 30 FPS using the main sensor. And this is phone number 2 with the same values. Is there any marginal difference again? Looking at both videos together, I even thought that phone 1 is brighter, but again, the only obvious difference is the white balance, warmer on Samsung Galaxy S22. And lastly, the selfie video test, 4K 30 FPS in low light, and you will see ghosting on phone number 1. Well, phone number 2 doesn't have that, but it is darker. Level of noise, I would say both looks bad, not ideal for low light. Side-by-side comparison, phone 1 is S22 and phone 2 is S21 FE. Did you get everything right? So this is the blind test of Samsung Galaxy S21 Fan Edition versus Samsung Galaxy S22. If you need the full detailed camera test of this phone, you can check our camera comparison video. I will leave the link in the description below. I guess today I've learned that although S21 FE is bang for your buck, Samsung will not give this phone the best performing set of cameras. But although S22 is superior, I guess I will leave this question: is it worth that extra dollars, not knowing where the image came from? And there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll continue to compare these 2 phones in our channel, so stay tuned. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.